So it looks like Supergirl is the biggest failure ever for a DC movie. Is that right? I mean, this is insane. Remember how everybody was predicting this thing was going to be a massive hit? It was potentially going to make more money than Superman. And now it's a laughing stock. You weren't even allowed to criticize Supergirl at all 6 months ago, or all these bot accounts on social media would descend upon you. I know this because I've seen it happen to people. I've seen it happen to some people who were posting about, I think John Delarose posted about it and they all dogpiled him. And it's like, look at our Supergirl fan base is so huge. All us Millie Alcock stands, we're all going to attack the Chuds. Where did they go? Nobody's talking about that. Like all these sock puppet fan accounts for Supergirl that popped up about the time the trailer dropped, the first trailer dropped, they just disappeared. Probably because they can't afford to pay him, because this movie made no money. It was a huge box office loss, and I'm sorry. I am starting to think that James Gunn is done. I think they're going to let him have Man of Tomorrow. I don't think that one's going to do as well as people think it's going to do. They're like, it's going to do as good as Superman. I'm like, I think it's going to do less than Superman, because people went to go see Superman thinking it was going to be a Superman movie. And it was a terrific ensemble cast movie with James Gunn humor. And they're like, well, fool us once. And I think that's partially what happened with Supergirl, too. I think they're like, well, we got excited for Superman and look what happened. And we didn't bother going to see Supergirl. And I don't think they're going to go see Man of Tomorrow. When their big selling point for Man of Tomorrow is the Blue Beetle is coming back. And look, I liked Blue Beetle okay. I think it was an okay movie. But okay is not $1 billion good, right? It's and that's the thing. And that's what Warner Brothers, and especially once the Ellisons take over, and I think it's definitely going to happen, when they take over, if they take over, I guess, they're going to expect results. And Gunn is not delivering it. Now, I think he would be allowed to stay on to do movies here and there, but he would not be the guy steering the ship, because he's already steered the ship into an iceberg. Worse than any of the Snyder movies, Supergirl. I mean, it's crazy. Let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, hey, check it out. I suck. Just so you know, I suck as a vampire. Geeky is reoffering her vintage pins. We had a lot of people asking for these, so she's going to do another production run. And this time around, you can get me as a vampire to go with a Geeky pin from last year. Check it out on Kickstarter. Geeky Sparkles Retro Halloween Revenge Glowing Enamel Pins. That is a mouthful. That is. So this is coming from the Express Tribune. Supergirl ends theatrical run as lowest grossing DC film, while James Gunn offers perspective. He needs to keep his resume updated. That's the perspective he needs to be offering. The Craig Gillespie directed film, well, that's debatable because he stepped in. Starring Millie Alcock, ended its 40-day theatrical run with 126 million globally. Globally. That is a disaster. Its performance falls below the previous low among DC releases, 2004's Catwoman. Catwoman. The film also finished below several recent DC releases, including The Blue Beetle, which grossed 130 million, Shazam 2, which earned 134 million. The results come as DC Studios co-head James Gunn celebrates his 60th birthday while working on Man of Tomorrow. James Gunn said he shared the song It's Not the End of the World by Foxy Shazam alongside his post, prompting speculation about whether the choice carried a message. Well, it's interesting. He's posting that, and Zack Snyder's out there posting things that seem to prop up the theory that he might be brought in to replace James Gunn again. And here's the thing. They brought James Gunn in because the Snyder movies were falling off. Well, Snyderverse movies, not Snyder's movies, his movies, but the movies that took place in the Snyderverse, Flash and all that. But they still did better than Supergirl. And I don't think Man of Tomorrow is going to do very well. I don't think Lanterns is going to do well. Now, I did think the last trailer looked better, but if the rumor is true that the whole series is about replacing Hal Jordan, it's not going to go well. That was a terribly unpopular decision in the comics. It's not going to go well on TV either, I don't think. And I think a lot of people have just checked out, right? The direct has DC just suffered its 6th major box office flop in 3 years. The box office has been unforgiving to DC. Again, this is the whole reason that they brought him in. Supergirl became DC's 6th major box office flop. Since early 2023, the movie opened at just $37 million domestic on June 26, then collapsed 77% in the second weekend, and everybody was like, it's superhero fatigue. And then a month later, Spider-Man comes out and makes like $1 billion in a weekend. It's like, no, your movie sucked. Your movie sucked. People don't like the people working on the movies. And that's it. That's what happened. I mean, honestly, look, objectively, I can't say the movie completely sucked. We did a review of it. We gave it a fair review. It wasn't a superhero movie. It wasn't a Supergirl movie. It was Mad Max in space. And for some people, that's great. It actually reminds me of the kinds of movies you used to see on HBO and Cinemax back in the day, like these weird one-off dystopian sci-fi, like Ice Pirates and Solar Babies. And that's what it reminded me of. And it's already getting dumped onto streaming because that's where it belongs. It belongs on TV. It doesn't belong in a theater, right? The studio wasted little time cutting its losses, according to the direct. Supergirl fell out of the domestic top 5 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, and shed more than 1,000 theaters heading into the third week. The film arrived on digital storefronts Tuesday, July 28th, barely a month after its theatrical performance. They are desperate to get some money back from this thing. This is coming from Bam Smack Pow. DC's Supergirl does the unthinkable, makes box office history. DC Studios' Supergirl is one of the most notorious movies of the year, and being so has made history at the box office. Unfortunately, it's not the good kind. They took a big swing when it commissioned Supergirl as the second installment in the DC universe. No, actually, the seat was warm. If it was a Supergirl movie, it probably would have done okay. Supergirl's most expensive box office disaster in DC movie history. So it officially finished its box office run with $125 million to its name in theatrical earnings. That makes it the lowest grossing mainstream movie since Catwoman. While Jonah Hex grossed much less than either of those films, it was a lower budget release. As a result, Supergirl holds the crown for being the least attended DC movie of the modern day superhero era. Let me blow this up. It's all the chud's faults. It's all your fault, guys. Supergirl holds the crown for being the least attended DC movie of the modern day superhero era. What's worse than that, though, is that it reportedly had a net loss of $240 million for DC Studios, which actually makes it the most expensive box office failure in DC movie history. That's a shocking thing to say out loud because, yes, a lot of other DC movies have made less than this over the years, but Supergirl's massive budget made breaking even a tall task. By the end of its opening weekend, it was clear that this simply wasn't going to happen during its theatrical run, and considering how it finished that run, it might not happen at all. To put it in perspective of just how potentially catastrophic Supergirl's failure is, here's a list of the biggest net losses in DC movie history. Supergirl is going to lose $200 to $240 million. The Flash, $150 million. Joker 2, $144 million. That wasn't super expensive except for Lady Gaga, I guess she was. Shazam 2, $155. Wonder Woman 84, $100 to $135. Lost. Suicide Squad, which I like quite a bit. And somehow they gave James Gunn the job after Suicide Squad lost $120 million. Green Lantern, $75 to $90 million. And they're making a series to try to redeem Green Lantern. And it's not going well for them either. Justice League, $60 to $100 million. And the Snyder Bros are going to be like, well, it's because it was the Joss Whedon cut, not the Snyder cut. Objectively speaking, the Snyder cut was vastly superior. It actually made sense. Like, you could follow the story. The Joss Whedon version, I had no idea what the hell was going on half the time. They said, of the above, only Wonder Woman 84 and the Suicide Squad get a pass, as both would have likely reached their break-even point if it weren't released during the pandemic, which severely impacted their theatrical rankings or takings. So the fact that Supergirl, a movie released at the height of the new DC Universe franchise, which didn't have the same issues to contend with, has lost the studio more money than they did, is not a hopeful sign for the movie. No, it's done. It's over. The fact that it also shares a list with The Flash and Shazam 2, as well as the unexpectedly massive failure that was Joker 2, isn't a good look for the movie either. Yeah, do you really think James Gunn is going to stay on? I don't think so. But they're still trying to defend this movie. CBR put an article out the other day. Millie Alcock gets the last laugh over Supergirl critics with major award win. Yeah, she got nominated, or she won some random Critics' Choice Award that nobody's heard of, and it's trying to be like, look, she stuck it to the chuds. I'm like, yeah, she gets the last laugh, all right. She's not laughing all the way to the bank, though, because I think a lot of her pay was determined by the box office take of this movie. And they might look at her, unfortunately. I mean, I think she's a good actress. I think she says some dumb shit, but she's young. They're going to look at her and be like, you're box office poison. You're Supergirl. We're not putting you in anything ever again. Then again, Ryan Reynolds bounced back from Green Lantern, so anything's possible, right? Anything is possible. But yeah, there we go, guys. It's a huge failure. I'm going to wrap it up. We already knew this. We knew it was a huge failure. We just didn't know how bad it was. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.